Hello again and welcome to the work in progress sewing vlog. It's like a vlog in slow motion. I cover my sewing goings on over the course of 2 weeks, and then I post it to my blog, and this is what you get. So I'm Erin. I can't remember if I mentioned that at the top of the video. Hi, I'm Erin from ZMOC's Sewing Blog. And this week's vlog is all about jumpsuits. One jumpsuit in particular, the Riva jumpsuit from Fibre Mood sewing magazine. I wrote a blog about this jumpsuit in my experience sewing it with my nice, like, proper fashion-y sort of photos, and I'll link up to that for you. But what you're going to see now are my thoughts as I worked my way through the sewing steps, or through some of the sewing steps of sewing the Riva jumpsuit. Everyone's got a bag of interfacing scraps like this, right? Where it's just like strips at this point. And the reason you save it is because, well, you know, it's good for like interfacing like those little teeny tiny spots, like where your zipper goes. I did something silly. Can you figure out what it is from this pattern piece? It's a little tricky because I didn't figure this out. I pretty much accidentally cut this back bodice piece on bias. You can see from like the way the grain is running there in this linen rayon. I hope this isn't going to become a problem. It's not a fitted bodice. I don't think I have enough fabric to fix this. Also, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of lazy. I kind of don't want to. So, on grain, off grain, bias. I don't even know if it's fully on the bias. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. Okay, so another duh moment. There is a difference in sleeve length between the front and back bodices. I probably made note of this somewhere and lost the note, or filed it in the wrong place, or I don't know. It's on the wrong page of a notebook and I haven't looked there yet. But anyway, what I'm going to have to do is just trim off that excess. Not a big deal, but as I was working on the shoulder seam, I was like, why does this not work? Like, what is going on here? Yeah, it's because there's a discrepancy in the sleeve length. Derp. Good morning, friends. I'm here in my cat pajamas to let you know that I am on the verge of finishing my jumpsuit. And let me tell you, it has been a comedy of errors. I think it's because I took a bunch of time between starting my jumpsuit and now when I'm finishing it. But man, I have just had a case of the dum-dums when it's come to sewing this thing like I haven't had for a sewing project in a really long time. And I'll talk all about this. But I'm almost there, which is pretty awesome. The kind of last major thing I have to do is a blind hem on the sleeve. And then I'm also going to, like, the last thing is sewing a snap at the V to preserve my modesty. But this is inside out, obviously. Did a blind hem. I'll show you that. Did a very lovely blind hem on the leg hem. I really like blind hems. My machine does a really good job at them. Hello, my beautiful babies. As you can see, I'm coming to you in my jumpsuit, pan down, it's finished. Using my fancy schmancy camera, but I'm holding it, so the picture's going to be a little herky-jerky. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how a bunch of stuff in this project went sideways, and I'm going to write about this too in my blog post. So let's start from the top down. So the back bodice piece is originally supposed to be one piece. I made it two because when I made my muslin, I was having a hard time getting in and out of it. So I was like, I'll put a zipper in, I'll make the back bodice two pieces, and I'll put a zipper in. When I was cutting up my pieces, I forgot to add the center seam allowance. So the seam allowance in the back is off. When I installed my zipper, I should have installed it a little bit lower to take like the binding into consideration. Didn't do that. So it's not the prettiest thing, let's just say, but the zipper is the same color as the jumpsuit, so that's there's camouflage there. Wearing this now, I'm realizing that I probably should have made the bodice a smidge longer. I feel like it's pulling up on my buns a bit, and I'm long-waisted, so I don't know why I didn't do that. Where else did things go sideways? Oh, so the belt here is just the wrong side of this fabric. Here you can see it's the wrong side of this fabric, and I decided to do that because I added inseam pockets to this jumpsuit, and when I did that, I didn't really think about how the inseam pockets would be a place where where the garment would spread to find, a little bit of stress relief. And like, technically, this is not a great fit, okay? Technically, I think your inseam pockets are not supposed to pop out like that. But because I happen to sew these wrong side out, which was not my intention, they look like a design detail. So I'll take it. And to kind of integrate everything, I decided to do the belt wrong side out. So there's that. On the sleeves, I don't know what the heck I was thinking, because this was even something that was wrong in my muslin. One of the, I think it was the back sleeve, these are cut-on sleeves. I think the back bodice part of the sleeve was longer than the front. So I had to cut that down. I don't know, that's crappy tracing? I don't know. I really don't know what happened there. Oh, when I was sewing the pants together, I happened to sew the inseams together. Just like, duh. Just like, seriously, case of the dum-dums while I was working on this. I can't exactly put my finger on it. This is a message to anyone who is maybe a beginner sewist and has felt like, I'm so bad at this, why don't I get this? I've been sewing for more than 10 years now, and I'm still making stupid mistakes. And yeah, I don't know. Some projects are just like that. Some projects are just like compounding in your stupid mistakes. I think that sewing this, I think that I let too much time pass between like when I traced it off and when I made the muslin and when I finally decided to sew it, where I forgot a bunch of stuff about it, and I forgot a bunch of like mods I wanted to make and silly things like the sleeves, being a different length. Like, what? So the lesson here is that take really good notes when you're sewing so future you is not screwed over by past you. Okay? Do future you a favor and take notes in like one place about everything that needs to happen for a particular project. Otherwise, you're going to be like me and having to unpick a whole bunch of stuff and just kind of scratching your head like, why is this so difficult? This is really silly. Ooh. Ta-da! So in short, my jumpsuit came together, not exactly in the way I was expecting, but it's done. And I'm glad it's finished, and I think it's really cute. I'm very happy in particular with how the sleeves and the legs are cropped. The kind of bummer of it all is that I'm going to have to wait probably until next spring to really wear it at all. So, yeah. Oh well, that's how it goes. I kind of wanted it out of my queue before I started on any like kind of cold weather projects. Let's switch gears and talk about some cool social findings. The first goodie I have for you is a nice video from the gals at Sew Over It, where they give tips on sewing with viscose or rayon. So if you, even if you've sewn with viscose before, I think this video is definitely worth a watch, and it's for sure worth a watch if you've never stuck your toe into sewing with rayon before. My second social media item for you is a conversation I came across on the Fold Lines Facebook group, and in this particular post by a member of the group, they this person talks about like, I just started sewing and I'm obsessed with it. Obviously, sewing is rad. And she asks, I would like to hear from you things you wish you knew when you started your sewing journey. Blogs, YouTube channels, classes. I'm thinking about starting a blog for beginners with loads of tips and hints. What advice should I give on this blog? So I really like the idea of, here's someone asking, how do I write a sewing blog for beginner sewists? Like, what do I have to include? And I really like the idea that someone who's so new to sewing is like, oh my gosh, I have to share the cool things I've come across with other people who sew. I think it's indicative of how generous sewists are and how hyped they are to talk about sewing and to make sure other people have good experiences sewing. I was really into it. But I encourage you to check out this post. I'll be sharing the link with you, of course, that is a collection of tips for beginners that other sewists you want to make sure that newbies, understand and take to heart. Stuff like use a fresh needle and take your time. And it was very interesting conversation, and the replies and whatnot back and forth, what certain people think are like totally critical to having a good experience as a beginner sewist. The next sighting I have for you is this completely adorable McCall's romper / jumpsuit / playsuit, or whatever you want to call it, from the blog is Pound Cake. And I just thought this was the cutest thing. And it's really hard to keep up on all of the like big four pattern releases. Then again, I don't really know how old this pattern is, but it's hard to like keep up on everything that comes out of, McCall's Simplicity, etc. So when I come across something from, the big pattern publishers that I think a lot of sewists would enjoy, but may have, passed under the radar, I've got to share it. And this playsuit is one of them. So cute. Dying about how cute this poppy red colored playsuit is. Came across an interesting conversation in the patternreview.com forums, and the topic of discussion was fabric for a cold weather maxi skirt? Question mark. What a great question, right? If you live someplace where the weather is cool, like, what do I make a maxi skirt out of? You've got some people in the forum suggested some people in the forum suggested wool. Some suggested like poly crepes, ponte de Roma. Just lots of really interesting suggestions for what you can do when you want to make a cold weather skirt. Finally, while this is not a sewing post per se, I have to draw attention to this amazing photo and project that Kate Cortman showed on Instagram, where she's painted her flippin' leather loafers, and they are so cute, so cute. If you go to her post and you click through and look at the maker of the paint that she used to decorate her shoes here, they have lots of really cool products. And it kind of makes me want to try my hand at maybe painting some fabric. So yeah, not a sewing project, but if you like beautiful things, and obviously if you like to sew, you do, check out this Instagram post. Very cool. I hope you enjoyed this installation of Work in Progress. As always, please leave me a comment, let you know what you're thinking, and we will talk again in 2 weeks. Bye.